There's a fine line between perfume and poison, and today we're talking about the main event, Cleopatra. First off, a lot of the stories that we have about Cleopatra were actually hit pieces by the Romans and mistranslation. She did not die by snake, she most likely died from consuming poison, possibly from a needle or a pin. Further, according to the historian Plutarch, who lived a century after Cleopatra, she had a special interest in poison and tried to extract the venom from poisonous animals, both as a means to unalive her enemies and in her pursuit to find a poison that would yield a painless death in case she ever needed it. This painting is called Cleopatra Testing Poison on Condemned Prisoner. With those Romans, they were also spreading propaganda that she used the poison on her servants as well. Okay, that's the poison. What about her perfume? Just like in the other videos in this series, a writer who lived hundreds of years after these events largely created the image that we currently have. In this case, it was Shakespeare who wrote in his play Antony and Cleopatra, "Purple the sails and so perfumed that the winds were love-sick with them. From the bard, a strange, invisible perfume hits the scent." What was he saying here? That Cleopatra had the sails of her ship scented with perfume to announce her arrival before she even got there. And upon smelling the seductive scent, Mark Antony was already in love with her. I would love for that to be true. Here's where things get pretty interesting though. In 2012, archaeologists from the University of Hawaii discovered a perfume manufacturing facility dated between 500 BCE and 600 CE. At a nearby site, they also found ancient kilns, and they still had perfume residue in them. These sites produced mass quantities of perfume, supplying the ancient world with their signature scents. And they found mentions of this perfume called the Menesian perfume because that's where it was found. And the lead archaeologist, Robert Litt, called these perfumes the Chanel No. 5 of ancient Egypt. What they discovered in the residue was that perfumes of the time were much different than they are today. They were very thick and had olive oil consistency. They were also very resinous. Littman's team collaborated with Egyptologists to recreate the perfume. And while they're not 100% because they don't know the exact method and there are translation issues with some of the ingredients, they believe they've come up with something pretty close. Did Cleopatra wear it? Impossible to tell. We haven't found that many of her artifacts, and her tomb is probably underwater. They've never found it. But if this perfume was as widespread as the texts indicate, she probably had it, which means that she smelled like myrrh, cardamom, cinnamon, and olive oil. Thanks to my friend Annalise the archaeologist, you can find her profile linked below. She helped me research this. Give her a follow if you're interested in more ancient Egypt. And you can find the rest of my perfume history videos on my page.